Well, the presidential candidates, they are very busy today on the campaign trail after sparring over U.S. policy on Israel and Ukraine at the third GOP presidential debate earlier this week. We are joined now by Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, who is on the ground in New Hampshire. Vivek, thank you for joining us and taking some time. Let me first quickly get your reaction to what Lucas was just talking about. You've got Iran's president shaking hands, smiling, and basically acting very friendly with the likes of MBS in Saudi Arabia as they sort of call on Israel for a ceasefire. Give me your take on, if you were president in this moment, how you would react to the message that these Arab Muslim countries are sending the world right now in Saudi Arabia.
So look, my reaction as U.S. president is that Israel has an absolute right to its own national self-defense. And I don't want to see Europe or the Middle East or the UN or the U.S., for that matter, get in Israel's way of defending itself. Give them a diplomatic Iron Dome to say they have a right to exist and actually to see that through and get that job done. I think one of the real unspoken U.S. mistakes earlier this year was the discussion about nuclear technology transfer to Saudi Arabia. I think that's a disastrous mistake. I think that played some unspoken role in catalyzing that October 7th attack and whatever role that Iran may have played in silently consenting to it. That, I think, was a U.S. policy mistake and one of the healthy reminders of humility that we need in our foreign policy, that when we waddle into the Middle East, we've been very sloppy about it, haven't had great results to show. And I think diplomatic leadership is what the U.S. needs to focus on.
Okay, so let's turn to Ukraine then, because you've been a pretty big critic of the U.S. involvement in Ukraine and the millions of dollars, billions really, that we've been handing over to this country. I want you to clear up this moment, though, on the debate stage where it sounds like you call President Zelensky a Nazi. Listen to this here with us.
Ukraine is not a paragon of democracy. It has celebrated a Nazi in its ranks, the comedian in cargo pants, a man called Zelensky, doing it in their own ranks. That is not democratic.
So do you really think he's a Nazi?
No, I was saying that Zelensky was celebrating a Nazi in his own ranks. This is news of people who are watching Ukraine, haven't paid attention to the fact that Zelensky celebrated a Nazi in the Canadian Parliament, honored an individual who was a member of the Nazi Party that was in Ukraine. Zelensky is spotted, recorded by the media, applauding for it. When he's called out for it, he then apologizes. But this is part of a broader litany of a pattern here that this is not a paragon of democracy. They've banned 11 opposition parties. They've consolidated all media into one state TV media arm. The regions of Ukraine that are occupied are Russian-speaking regions where they've tried to ban the speaking of Russian, regions that haven't been represented in Ukraine's parliament for the last 10 years. They've said they won't hold elections this year unless the U.S. forks over more money. So this myth that this is somehow a battle between good and evil, just because Putin is a craven dictator, does not mean that Ukraine is good. That is a lie. And the American people deserve the truth. And now, as we're seeing the corruption of how our money's been spent, gone to Ukrainian kleptocrats in a country known to be corrupt, it's interesting to see the people who were Ukraine hawks even earlier this year quietly tiptoeing back. But actually, you're right. I was one of the very earliest critics of this war, critics of the justification for it from a U.S. standpoint. And I stand by my position that we need a reasonable deal here that allows Ukraine to come out with its sovereignty intact, but at the same time gets Russia to exit its military alliance with China and end this war. That's what advances U.S. interests, and I'm the only candidate with a clear plan to do it.
Okay, let's turn back to domestic policy here, and you talk a lot about this ideological difference that the GOP currently faces about where they go as a party. And one of the first things you said on the debate stage was you called for Ronna McDaniel to step down. She's since come back and hit back at you, and she's not going anywhere. Listen to what she said on Fox Business.
He's at 4%. He needs a headline. The RNC doesn't do state races. We're a federal committee, so we weren't involved in those races on Tuesday. I know Vivek's kind of newer to the party. He voted for Obama, so he may not know that.
Okay, so she takes a dig at you. You want to respond to that?
Yeah, I will respond to it. It is shameful that the RNC, first of all, flat out lying on national television. I've never voted for Obama once in my life. I think it is pathetic, shameful, and dishonest and automatically disqualifying for the RNC, a supposedly neutral arbiter, the chair of the RNC, to hit me with a national falsehood like that. I would say that that was false, damaging, and you could say it was made with malicious intent. Because Rana was also somebody who was booing for me while she was sitting in the audience during the debate, said the RNC wouldn't give me another cent because I called out her failures. It's not her money. So in many ways, day after day, she's proving my point about the corruption of the RNC. I think people should judge based on the facts. I'm not a politician. I come from the outside. She took over in 2017. 2018, 2020, 2022, 2023, all disasters for the Republican Party. Rana has to go. She's effectively like a squatter in a rent-controlled apartment who thinks they own the place.
But I think folks are looking at this, and folks are looking at the debate performance and wondering that, were you just trying to grab headlines by saying the things that you were saying because of where you're polling right now? Let me ask you this. How much money did you fundraise? How much money did you raise right after, in the 24 hours after the debate?
It's actually a metric that I haven't. I mean, it wasn't a tremendous amount. It's raised certainly a lot more after the first debate. That's a hard fact.
DeSantis and Nikki Haley both raised $1 million in the 24 hours after. Do you have a number?
Yeah, we did that after the first debate, and we've raised it. We've raised a good amount after the third debate. To tell you the truth, Aisha, I'm writing big checks into this campaign. I'm putting 8-figure additional checks in addition to the 8 figures I've already put in, because I don't want to have to rely and beg people like Ronna McDaniel or the RNC establishment for that money.
You've got to have a. You've also got to have a base.
Of course not. We've got we have a base of small dollar donors, 6-figure small dollar donors. And Aisha, if you want some hard facts, 40% of our 6-figure 150,000 small dollar donors are first time ever donors to the GOP. Normally that's 2% for a Republican candidate. So I believe in accountability. And so, no, I don't think it is. Rana is actually the one who's trying to deflect attention. She needs to step aside and resign. And one of the main obstacles people say is there's no successor. There's a guy by the name of Drew McKissick, who's the co-chair of the RNC, who has a great track record in South Carolina before he took over as co-chair earlier this year. And that could be an interim chair until a proper meeting is had in January. That's the next meeting of the RNC. Last time when Harmeet Dillon ran, it was rigged by Ronna McDaniel. Well, if she's not there, they could have a clean slate, new appointment for new leadership at the RNC, a failed party right now, in January. And so I think it's telling when somebody tries to actually behave like a party belongs to them versus responding to the actual results they're accountable for.
Vivek, one last question before I let you go, and then we really do have to go. I've asked you this before at the debate in the spin room right after. Why should the Trump base out there, the people who are for the former president, vote for you? Because you've told me you really don't have many policy differences with the former president. You're just almost a younger version of him. So what happens if the former president shows up at this next GOP debate next month? How do you separate yourself from him?
Yeah, I think there's one big difference. I come from the next generation. I'm 38 years old. I'm the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. And I think it takes somebody now with fresh legs to take the America First movement to the next level. I won't be the same person 8 years from now that I am today, but I do have fresh legs today. And you know what? I believe in the founding spirit of our country. Thomas Jefferson was 33 years old when he signed that Declaration of Independence. I think it takes somebody whose best days in life are still ahead to see a country whose best days are ahead of itself. And so, yes, I believe I have the spirit to reach the next generation. We're bringing young people of the next generation into this party and into this movement in droves never seen in our party's history. And so, yes, we're just getting started, and I believe we're going to be successful.
I think that is a challenge for every single candidate on the trail right now, is to try to convince folks to shift away from the former president. It doesn't seem to be happening. Vivek Ramaswamy, candidate for the presidential race. We so appreciate it.
Soon to be nominee.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.